on Hawaiian punch. Know you like all this gush. Oh no, you can't get enough. Sipping on Hawaiian punch.
Hey, my name is Adeline Warren, and you're listening to Girl Talk. I like to say that I'm the big sister of the internet. You can watch me fuck up all you want, but hey, maybe we can learn something from it. I hope you enjoy. Hey, bitch. Okay, I'm so sorry. I feel like the last episode, the buzzing noise in the back was so bad, so I tried to fix it. I'm sorry if it's not fixed. This is a whole, like, work in progress type of thing, but I hope that you guys have been doing well. Bitch, how are you fucking doing? I hope that you're doing well. I just finished a call with my life coach, and we really got deep about shit, and I kind of wanted to talk about it because you have you ever been to therapy and like, you talk about whatever's going on in your life and you just have these like kind of epiphanies and you're like, damn, I'm like this because of XYZ and my parents and like this and this and this. So I don't know. I think I just wanted to talk about just my upbringing and just my life just to like, because I feel like we need to normalize this. Like, I think, going to therapy can cost so much money, but it's totally something that completely changed my life and completely made my life so much better. And I feel like there's so much like generational trauma from like generations until me when I started to go to therapy and I started like working on the shit that like, growing up I've seen and like, whatever it is. And I don't know. I thought that we could talk about it and like, hey, maybe we're going to get a little deep today. I hope you're ready for it. But whatever. Life. This is life. I don't, like sometimes I like going on some YouTube videos to like, escape sometimes. And then sometimes I like to just like get deep because, we're so much deeper than like, this surface level shit. Like, hey, you go on my, TikTok, you go on my YouTube channel and, you see Hermes unboxing, bitch. You see like Prada, home decor, all this shit. And I just wanted to really get deep today because I'm in a deep mood and I want to talk about it. And hey, maybe this won't make the cut because I might be getting a little too deep. But I love talking about shit like this. And I love, realizing the way that I am and, making myself a better me. Whether you're searching for the latest sneaker drop, that iconic handbag, a timeless watch, or your next piece of classic jewelry, eBay authenticators are there verifying every detail of your purchase. Yeah, we're talking each inch, each stitch, each tick, each facet, and each clasp that makes the piece you're searching for worthy of your collection. eBay's authenticators are experts in their craft, true connoisseurs, and as leaders in their fields, they're making sure your items always arrive as authentic as your style. So go ahead, get that piece you've always wanted, and leave it up to the meticulous eye of eBay authenticators to make sure that watch movement is original, that glimmer is real gold, and that rare sneaker is legit, or that handbag is really made of genuine leather, and never get faked over ever again. In a world full of fakes, it's time to get real with eBay Authenticity Guarantee. Everyone deserves real. Visit ebay.com for terms. So I think the first thing, there's a couple things that I really wanted to touch on. So the first thing that I really wanted to touch on is, I think number one, just believing in love. I feel like when I was younger, obviously, I was obsessed with Disney. My whole life revolved around Disney. I loved my favorite, Disney princess was Pocahontas, which I don't even know if she's a princess. Do they consider her a princess? She's in my world because I look the most like her. I think growing up, it would have been Moana if she came out when I was a kid because she has like dark hair and like tan. But it was always Pocahontas for me. I always loved her. I think I also always loved Cinderella, but I was like, I don't look like Cinderella. I don't have blonde hair and I don't have blue eyes. So Pocahontas was always my favorite. And I've always dreamt of like, the Disney princess and like, having your happily ever after and like having, that person. And I also feel like growing up, I always kind of knew that I was bi
because I would like watch Glee. That was like the one good memory I have of like my childhood is like watching Glee with my family every, I think, Wednesday. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday. There would be a new Glee episode, and we'd always like sit around the couch, and we'd be in the family. It's called the family room. We'd sit on the couch and we'd watch Glee, and you know, my mom would have a cooler, my dad would have a beer, like everyone would like have a good time. It was always good memories when we would watch Glee. So I remember I loved Brittany from Glee. She was like my favorite character, and I felt so weird because she had like some sort of thing with Santana, and I almost like judged her for it. I was like, oh my god, I'm literally Brittany. But like, it's so weird that she's like into girls. Like, I'm not like that. Like, but I would almost be like judgmental. It's almost like, you know, when before you come out, you're almost like, you almost are a little homophobic towards yourself, not towards other people, but towards yourself. That was 100% me. So I don't know. I think I grew up always romanticizing and like wanting to fall in love, and like my parents really did keep my childhood so special for me because we would like, you know, go to Disneyland, and like we would, you know, watch Disney movies, and like we'd watch TV on, you know, all together. And I loved my childhood. My childhood was like so sacred. I think when I started to realize how real love is was when I got a little bit older, and my parents would fight so much. I think it was like when I got into like high school. When I got into high school, that's when I vividly remember like I would have like exams, and my mom and dad wouldn't shut the fuck up. Like they were just like fighting all the time. And I was just like, at that point, I was so over it. And I think I'm the oldest. I'm like, it was me and then my brother and my sister. I think I was like 15 at the time. So at that point, I'm like, you guys just need a divorce. You fight every day. Like, you guys like bother me all the time. Like, you're always fighting. You're always yelling. The house is always like such high tension. It's like, just divorce. And then it was like my brother and sister who were still young, and they were like, no, like, this is our mom and our dad. Like, you guys need to stay together, like, whatever. And then slowly, as like my brother got older, he's like, you guys need a divorce. And then slowly, as my sister got older, she's like, you guys need a divorce. But yeah, they would just like fight all the fucking time, like late at night. And I think that's why. So me and my friends always talk about this. We're like, if you fall asleep with like the TV in the background or something, or even like white noise, it could be from like childhood trauma from like wanting to like drown out your parents fighting. Cause that was totally me. And like my friends are like, oh my God, that's a thing. Laughing about traumas is just, it's what we do here. But yeah, they would just like always be fighting. And I think that's to the point where I think I had my first high school boyfriend, and I think I still kind of believed in love. But I just saw my parents, and I saw how like messy love can be. And I definitely 100% had my guard up for that. I think what really was a big turning point for me, because even though me and my high school boyfriend, we met really when I was like a child. Like we really met when I was like 14, 15. So I was still like developing. And I really like believed in us, and I thought that we were gonna actually get married. And then, you know, I saw his parents, and I almost felt like his parents were almost like my parents. Like I would spend so much time with them, and like they would help me out with stuff, and they would teach me so much. And when I broke up with my high school boyfriend, I think that was a point where I was like, all of the relationships that I've seen growing up ended. Like, I mean, his parents are still together, but like my parents, you know, relationship ended, my relationship ended, all of the relationships that I've seen have like pretty much ended. Like the only real role models that I have are like my grandma and grandpa. So I think for a couple years after that relationship, I really had a hard time, and I really took it to heart. And it took me a really long time to really be open. And I almost felt like I put on this front of like this man eater, like really like cool boss woman, like fucking like, don't fuck with me. If you're a fuck boy, I'm a fuck girl. Like I'll fuck you over even harder. Like my I had so many walls built up that it was just like impossible to get to me, or like to have me open up, or to, you know, even just be in a relationship with me. I would definitely 100% was not ready for a relationship at the time. And I definitely talked through it with my life coach because, you know, I think growing up, you think of relationships like, and then they lived happily ever after the end. But it's like, happily ever after, it's like you get married and then it's work. Like, it's not just like happily ever after. It's like you guys are a team and you guys have to communicate every fucking day. And you guys have to grow with each other, not apart from each other, like with each other. And you have to communicate with each other. Like, relationships are really so much work. And I think growing up, I just saw my parents, like, I think they both put in the effort, but I think in different ways, so it felt like the other person was putting in the effort. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say like my parents' relationship ended over one person. Like, I definitely think that they maybe had like different love languages, and like the way that my dad would show love was different from the way that my mom showed love. And like, it also like, you know, came into, you know, a factor that like I had an alcoholic parent. But I think for the longest time, I was like, you know, at peace with honestly like not believing in love and just, you know, never getting, I literally remember to myself, I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna get married. I think I'm just gonna be with Blue. Like, hopefully Blue lives forever. And I was just kind of like, I don't know, I just didn't really believe in love. And I think at that point I was just so sad. I was just like, I don't know. I think I felt, I always feel like the world reflects how you feel inside. So, you know, when I feel great about myself, when I work out, when I put in the work, when I, you know, get my hair done and my makeup done, and I feel really good about myself, amazing things always happen to me. I get that Hermes leather appointment. I, you know, get my dream house. I get this. Great things always happen when I feel good about myself. And then I remember in the like the deepest, darkest times of my life, like in high school when I, you know, I wasn't working out. I would basically barely pass any of my classes. Like, you guys don't realize, like, I wasn't smart in school. Like, I never really had amazing grades. Like, I think growing up, I really did have amazing grades. But I think as I got in high school and I got in a deeper, more negative headspace, that's when I felt so bad about myself. And it's actually so crazy because I'm just thinking about it right now. When I was at like the deepest point of my life, like the darkest point of my life, when I had so much anxiety going home, I remember being on the phone with like my mom and my dad, and I was like, I don't want to go home. Like, you guys fight all the time. I get so much anxiety coming home. It's such a negative space. Like, I remember there were days where I had to sleep over at my friend's house. You guys remember Nisha? Nisha, I would sleep over at her house because it would get so bad at home. And I just like would get anxiety attacks, and I just like couldn't sleep because my mom and my dad were fighting. But it was so crazy because all of that would be happening. And then on the weekends, I would like go to BeautyCon and like meet like 300, like 400, 500 people at fucking meet and greets. And like, I would go to LA and I would like, you know, film like with NYX Cosmetics, and I would like be on the fucking billboards. Like, shit is so trippy to think about that I did so much back in the day. It was actually so funny. Me and Sierra the other day, we were like looking at our old camera roll and our old Instagram, and we're like, damn, like we were kind of like, I mean, not Disney stars, but we were definitely like a teeny tiny, we got a little glimpse of like Disney stardom. Like, we would literally have meet and greet malls and like fill up the entire fucking mall. Like, I wish I could have photos of it. It's probably on the internet somewhere, but I would literally do meet and greets and like meet hundreds, maybe even thousands of people. I went on tour. Like, how crazy is that? At the lowest point in my life, when I couldn't even live at my parents' house, and I don't know. That was, I think, honestly, what like really kept me going is just YouTube. Because I was like a really, really, really sad kid. And I feel like the thing that really turned my life around, and like as cheesy as it may sound, and you're gonna be like, I don't know, you're such a cheese ball, is YouTube, and really honestly just like law of attraction and manifestation, because I feel like for so many generations of my family and my life, it's just been like, negativity and like fighting and, whatever. And it was really like having that escape, which was YouTube, like literal escape. Like I was happy that I didn't even have to stay at home. And like, oh my God, I don't want my mom and my dad to like listen to this and feel bad about themselves, because honestly, my mom and my dad were like the best parents in the entire world. And like, I wouldn't trade it for the entire world. I learned so much along the journey, and no parent is perfect, and I love them so much. But I don't know. I think it's so crazy to think about that at that time in my life was almost like the peak of my fucking career. I mean, I don't want to say the peak of my career. I mean, maybe it was. I don't know. I think if I did a meet and greet now, I don't think that many people would show up. I think back in the day, like YouTube was like a cool thing. Now I feel like influencers were kind of like, there's so many influencers now that it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's not as cool and special. Like back in the day, like it was so cool to like meet Bethany Moda. Like she was my fucking bitch. Like I fucking love Bethany Moda. And it was so cool to meet like Jenna Marbles. And like it was like so, like it was such a cool thing. And it was like such a niche community. Whereas now I feel like, especially, I think about this all the time, after COVID, it went from like niche YouTube stars, VidCon, and that type of era, to TikTok, lots of TikTokers, anybody can really be an influencer, which I honestly really love, to influencers and fame kind of like being less exclusive and special. And, you can run into like a cool TikToker on the street. There's so many like influencers now, which I think is so cool. But it really just changed the whole game of YouTube. Did you hear, like, apparently at VidCon, one of the years at VidCon, I think it was sponsored by TikTok, because every year it's sponsored by YouTube. So one of the years it was sponsored by TikTok, and there were so many TikTokers with like millions and millions and millions of followers. They did a VidCon meet and greet and nobody showed up. I think it's kind of a crazy thing to think about, because it's just such a different era and it's such a different time. Like, I don't know. I think it's almost like back in the day, YouTube, I think, was maybe just like more niche, and it was, there wasn't very many of them, and there were like groups and stuff like that. Whereas now I feel like there's TikTok, TikTokers, Instagram, OnlyFans, YouTube, whatever, streamers, Twitchers, I don't know. There's so many different types of people and different types of niches. Like, it's so crazy. I feel like back in the day, I knew everyone. I knew PewDiePie. I knew, everyone that was big on YouTube. Like, you could go on like the YouTube charts and be like, who are the most subscribed YouTubers right now? And I knew all of them. But now I feel like looking at all of the top subscribed people on TikTok, on YouTube, on whatever, I don't even know them. There's so many types of people and so many streamers and so many people in different genres. And like, there's so many people that it's almost less special, which I'm not even mad about. I think that it's really cool that so many people can have a voice and so many people, can make social media their job. But I think that's just kind of a crazy thing to think about. Anyways, getting back to where I was kind of talking about how it's so crazy, because at some of the lowest points in my life, I was literally doing meet and greets with like hundreds and like, thousands of people, and, going on tour and like meeting people and having the best time and like feeling like literal Hannah Montana. I think I was actually Hannah Montana, because I would go to school. I would literally go to school, and like people would always say, oh, you know, people didn't think that YouTube was cool back in the day. Hell fucking no. I feel like now people go on YouTube and you're famous on YouTube and then people think that you're so cool in school or TikTok. Like people probably think that you're so cool. But back in the day, girl, I would go on YouTube and people would make fun of me. I think in high school I had like 300,000 subscribers. I forget how many I had on Instagram. I think it was like maybe like 50 to 100,000. And like, I remember people would always make fun of me. The boys would make fun of me because I think I did a Betty Boop tutorial and like I would put glue in my eyebrows. They'd make fun of me for that. And the girls hated me. They would always like bully me and spread rumors about me. And I was never like cool. Like the girls would literally like physically fucking push me in fucking high school. Like they were so fucking mean. But yeah, it's so crazy because when you think of Hannah Montana, you think of her being a loser in high school and like so cool in real life. And I feel like that was literally the life that I lived, which is so crazy thinking back on it. Because I think when you're in the moment, you don't even think of it like that. You literally think like, oh my God, this is my life. Like, this is so cool. Like, whatever. And then looking back like 10 years from now, maybe it was 10 years. I don't remember. 5 maybe. You're like, damn, I really was Hannah Montana. Like, what the fuck? And then you think, and I'm like, damn, it's honestly like, I know that I'm being a cheeseball, but you guys really did save my life because I was having so much trouble at home. I had no friends. Like, you think that I'm exaggerating. Like, I was so socially awkward. I would never, you know, talk to people. I'm such a natural introvert, and I would go to dance class. I wouldn't talk to anyone. I would literally be mute. I'd be one of those kids that were mute and like I wouldn't talk to anyone. And I think on the last day, I remember this, one of the girls went up to talk to me and I like made one friend. And then in high school, I think I had one friend. Well, I had one friend, Anna, because she was from my middle school. And then she introduced me to 2 other friends. So I had 3 friends. And then they graduated because I was a year under them. And I had no friends. And I was able to make 2 friends. But yeah, all throughout high school, I think I only had like 5 friends and like maybe my boyfriend. Which is honestly crazy that I had a boyfriend because I was so socially awkward. You guys have no idea. Like, you think that I'm a very extroverted person because, you know, you listen to my podcast and whatever. And like, it's taken me years to grow from this. Naturally, I'm so introverted and it really shows when I go to places by myself and I'm really pushing myself because when I go to places by myself or when I don't have like my emotional support person, I feel like Andre's my emotional support person and he like helps me. I feel like every introverted friend has one extroverted friend and like the extrovert kind of like adopts the introvert and like invites them to everything. That was Andre for me. Andre always makes plans with people and he always like introduces me to people. And I feel like I've gotten better, but before I was so introverted. So I'm really grateful for Andre for that. But yeah, and even Chloe, I feel like Chloe also was my extroverted friend. I was always like the super introverted friend. So there's some things that in my life that I wish I could automate, like doing laundry, washing my hair, doing my skincare, washing your makeup brushes. We live in an automated world, but some things just still require tedious manual work. Save time automating your shipping and returns with ShipStation dashboard while keeping costs down with industry-leading discounts. I love ShipStation. It has a free trial and it's super quick setup. ShipStation is so affordable. My shipping rates are so much cheaper than what I paid before using it. And I think ShipStation is made for girl bosses like me who are constantly busy. ShipStation makes it easy to automate shipping tasks for orders with every marketplace in one dashboard. It has effortless integration everywhere you sell, including Amazon, Etsy, eBay, Shopify, and more. You can manage every order from one simple dashboard, print shipping labels, easily compare rates and delivery times to optimize every shipment and automate every delivery notification. With industry-leading discounts, you'll never worry about overpaying for shipping. Get up to 84% off USPS and UPS rates, and if it's not enough, use my promo code to try ShipStation for free for 2 months. So spend more time growing your business when you automate shipping tasks with ShipStation. Go to ShipStation.com and use the code GIRLTALK today and sign up for your free 60-day trial. That's ShipStation.com with the code GIRLTALK.
Say my name when you go in it. 3 times like you're superstitious.
Where was I going with this? I think growing up, I really loved my parents and I think it was just a weird time because at the time, social media wasn't a job. You know, you go to the bank and you're trying to get a mortgage and you're like, oh, I'm self-employed. They're like, what do you do? Social media. They're like, what? They almost didn't give me a mortgage. And at the time, I was making a good amount of money. I was making almost as much as like a doctor or a lawyer. I was making a good amount of money that year. And they didn't want to give me a mortgage because it wasn't a job at the time. I think it was just a really weird time. And then I moved to LA. But I don't know. I think at the time, I kind of resented my parents because I was like, you know, all my friends, like their parents are still together. Their parents don't fight. Like, why do I have to be in this situation where my parents are always fighting and my parents, you know, they, you know, do X, Y, and Z and like it's not fucking fair. And I would always like, you know, tell myself that and I'd resent them for it. And I feel like something that honestly really helped me was moving out. And I know not everybody has the opportunity to, but I know a lot of my friends, they really have trouble with their parents or even like family members. And I always say, if you have the funds and you're able to, like moving out was the best thing I ever did for my relationship with my family because they would drive me up the walls. They would drive me insane. And I would like be in screaming fights with my mom, screaming fights with my dad. And it was just like such an unhealthy and bad environment. The moment that I moved out, I feel like I was able to like breathe and take space away from my parents and really form into my own person. And I think also distance makes the heart grow fonder, and it really made me appreciative of all the things, like, you know, how many times, you know, all the shitty things that happened. It made me really appreciate all the good things that happened with my family. But yeah, I don't know. I think another thing that I kind of wanted to touch on was also just growing up with an alcoholic parent. And I used to never talk about stuff like this. And it's because my parents would always be like, you know, don't talk about family stuff and like, you know, don't say that you hate school in your videos. Like they were like, be a good role model. But I think I'm at a point in my life now that, you know, my parents got a divorce. Everyone knows it. At the time, not everyone knew it. And I honestly feel like it's very common to have an alcoholic parent, which is kind of sad. I know a lot of my friends had one, and it just sucks because, at least for me, it felt like love was conditional and inconsistent. I think that's the main thing. It just felt inconsistent because I think it's really just like about the mood swings and about like, you know, are they going to be in a good mood today or are they going to be in a bad mood today? Or, you know, are they going to be, you know, okay today? Or are they going to be like sloppy today? Like it was just never a consistent thing, which is something that I feel like I struggle with and something that I find very attractive in a partner once I started realizing all of this about myself is just consistency. Having an alcoholic parent is really gnarly. And I don't want to get too into it, but I just wanted to say that, you know, if you are going through it or, you know, you have gone through it, I'm really sorry. I wouldn't wish having an alcoholic parent or what I went through on like my worst enemies, on anyone. Because it's a lot of fucking therapy and it's a lot of fucking shit to go deal with, you know? It's like I used to be so envious of my friends that just had healthy parents. I'm like, damn, like my life would be so much easier if like my parents were just normal and they just like loved each other and it wasn't like all this shit. And I used to be like, fuck, like I wish that was me. But yeah, I don't want to get too much into it because it is very personal, but if you do struggle with an alcoholic parent, I just want to say that I'm really sorry. And it's never your fault. And you know, you can't I think the main thing that I really learned from this whole thing is you can never control anyone. You can't control your alcoholic parent. You can't tell them to stop drinking I mean, you could try. You really can. And like, hopefully they will. But it's never your fault. I never feel like it's your fault. I think the only thing that you can really do, in at least for my situation, is really just like talk to people about it and like go to therapy and like have a life coach and talk to people about it and like learn from it and grow from it and, you know, realize, you know, all the traumas that it's brought to you and really heal them. Because it really is a thing. Like, alcoholism is hereditary, and it, you know, a lot of people who had alcoholic parents end up being alcoholics themselves. So the best thing that you can do for yourself is really save up your money and really go to therapy, or like see if your benefits cover therapy. Because a lot of companies do cover it in your benefits. So see if they cover it. Talk to people about it, you know, learn about it and really heal from it, because out of everyone in the entire world, you deserve to be healed, and you deserve to be free of all your traumas, and you deserve real, genuine, happy, unconditional, consistent love, you know? Fuck. Because I feel like for so many years I felt like, you know, you're not deserving of love, or you're not deserving of someone that's consistent. You know, you're just used to people being inconsistent in your life. And I'm the first person to tell you that you really do deserve the whole world. Like, there's no limitations. Just because you grew up a certain way, and just because, you know, maybe you didn't grow up with money, or just because, you know, your parents were a certain way, it doesn't mean anything. And your biggest savior and your biggest obstacle will be like healing those traumas. And maybe if you can't afford therapy, maybe watching YouTube videos on it, or, you know, talking to your friends about it. Talking about it always helps. Learning from it, growing from it, and really becoming a better person from it. Because, you know, it's too many times that, you know, people, you know, have to deal with all this shit, and life is fucking hard. And I think one of my favorite quotes is, life is fair because it's unfair to everyone. And there were so many times where I'd be like, fuck, like, I wish that I had other people's lives. Like, why do I have to have my life? Like, fuck my life. Like, I just, like, hate my fucking life. Like, why does my life have to be like this? But you're in control of your life, and like the best thing that you could do for yourself, you can't control other people. You can't control your dad, you can't control your mom, you can't control your friends, you can't control your brother, your sister, you can't control anyone. The only person that you're in control of is yourself, and your boundaries, and your, you know, how much access you give your life to people. And if people don't respect your boundaries, and if people don't, you know, respect you, then they just have to be cut out of your life. I don't know, it's really fucking hard. And I really hate alcohol. Like, alcohol, you know, obviously it's really fun for a night out, but it's really easy to get addicted to. And I didn't drink alcohol. Like, I've never even had my first sip until I was actually 21. Like, even though I was able to have alcohol when I was 19 in Canada, and I never would drink because I was just scared of like turning into my dad. But I think I just, like, I have healthy boundaries with it. Like, I drink alcohol with my friends on the weekends. It's not like an everyday sort of thing. And I have my boundaries with alcohol, and I think just sticking with that, you know, is so important. And yeah, I don't really know where I was going with that, but but yeah, alcohol's fucking gnarly, and I fucking hate it. And it just sucks because the more that you drink it, after so many years, it really just, I mean, don't quote me on this, but it like eats away at your brain. And like, it does a lot of things to your health and your gut. And it really just changes people. Like sometimes, I look at my alcoholic parent and I'm like, damn, like, you remember them as like all of the amazing things that they did for you, like, drive you and, pick you up from school and, maybe buy you a Starbucks once in a while and, fun memories, like laughing together. That's how you really like remember, at least for me, it's how I remember my parents. And alcohol just really eats away at your brain and it's like to the point where they're not even the same person anymore. They're forgetful, they forget things, they're irresponsible, they're lazy, they're not fully there. I think that's the main thing, is just like they're just not fully there. And you're like, it's the same body, but is it the same person? Which is really sad. And I feel like that's something that I had to deal with over the past couple years. But yeah, I don't know why I'm being so vulnerable and just letting this all out. I think I just really honestly needed to talk to someone, and I was too scared to call my boyfriend. I was too scared to call my friends. So hey, why don't we just post this on the internet? Fuck. Like, fuck. I have no boundaries when it comes to the internet. Fuck. But I don't know. I think I just wanted to talk about this because I wish that I had someone, to talk about it with, I feel like, I have some friends and they had alcoholic parents and like we kind of talked about it, but it's just kind of nice, like, watching that YouTuber that, like, you would watch their like luxury unboxing hauls and you're like, oh my God, like she looks like she has the perfect life and like she looks like, she goes on vacation with her family, like they have a good relationship, but like, fuck man, like life is fucking hard. Like life is so hard. And it is for everyone. But yeah, I don't know. I think I just, if this podcast episode helps one person with like, their family sucked too, or maybe not sucked, but, they had struggles growing up too. It's like, that's all that really matters. And like a lot of people might call me a crybaby and like they're like, ugh, Adeline, like, fuck, I just go on your YouTube channel to like fucking escape and like watch a fucking like haul video. Like, fuck, why are we talking about this shit? This shit's so deep. I'm trying to like, I'm driving on my way to work. Fuck. Girl, I'm sorry. This is a deep episode.
Whether you're searching for the latest sneaker drop, that iconic handbag, a timeless watch, or your next piece of classic jewelry, eBay authenticators are there verifying every detail of your purchase. Yeah, we're talking each inch, each stitch, each tick, each facet, and each clasp that makes the piece you're searching for worthy of your collection. eBay's authenticators are experts in their craft, true connoisseurs, and as leaders in their fields, they're making sure your items always arrive as authentic as your style. So go ahead, get that piece you've always wanted, and leave it up to the meticulous eye of eBay authenticators to make sure that watch movement is original, that glimmer is real gold, and that rare sneaker is legit, or that handbag is really made of genuine leather and never get faked over ever again. In a world full of fakes, it's time to get real with eBay Authenticity Guarantee. Everyone deserves real. Visit ebay.com for terms.
Say my name when you go in it. 3 times like you're superstitious.
But yeah, I don't know. It feels really good to talk about it, and it feels really good to talk to you guys about it because I feel like you guys know my whole life and you've seen me grow up, and like I see so many comments of you guys and you're like, I've literally watched you since the fucking Vaseline video. Like, bitch, that was when I was 13. Like, you guys have literally been watching me since I was 13, and this is like just the one thing people always ask, like, are your parents still together? Blah blah blah. I never respond to that. So I don't know. I think it's just like a very vulnerable, open and honest podcast. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have any advice on it because I just like, everyone's situation is different. And I feel like, whatever. But I think the only thing that I would say is to just like focus on yourself, because I feel like there's so many times where I felt like, I can tell my parents to do this, and I can, if they just did this and then it would be fine. And like if they just like divorced and then it would be fine if they just did this, if they just did this. But what really healed me and what really made me believe in love again and what really made me happy again was fixing myself, not trying to fix other people, fixing myself, and learning about, divorce, and learning about, alcoholism, and learning about, what it does to a person and all those things. I think that helped me the most. So if you're struggling, just know it helped me. So, maybe it'll help you. But anyways, on a lighter note, let's do questions. What would Rihanna do? Wow, wow, wow. Wow, 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 thoughts. When I'm with you, I get his wild thoughts. This is really like a 180. Like, let's talk about divorce and let's talk about pussy. So do you recommend any kitty supplements? So my friend actually texted me the other day. She's like, Adeline, what are those like vitamins that you would take to make your pussy wetter? It's actually called, this is actually the craziest turnaround. Me crying about my parents' divorce and then also like talking about like pussy pills. The vitamins that I took, they're actually really good for you, whether you want a wet pussy or not. What do you call it? Skincare technicians actually recommend it to people with dry skin because it really hydrates you. Hydrates your skin, hydrates the pussy, hydrates everything. So it's called omega-7 sea buckthorn oil pills. I link it in my Amazon storefront. It's in like this orange box, but bitch, buy it on my Amazon storefront because I literally like, I don't know how all these bitches make so much money off their Amazon storefront. I literally make like $100 a month. I'm like, how do people make money off their Amazon storefront? Go on my Amazon storefront and buy it. At least I'll get like 50 cents or something. Like, fuck. But yeah, those are the pills that I take. What is a vagina supposed to smell like? So everybody has a different smell. Keep that in mind. Like, when you smell like guys' balls, not all of them smell the same. Everybody has their own, what do you call it? Pheromones. So it could really smell, however way. Just make sure, clean it, make sure to clean her. Don't clean inside. You could clean on the outside with a little bit of soap. She shouldn't really have like a real, like, crazy smell. I feel like the only time where I had like a crazy smell and like other people could smell it was when I had it's not a urinary tract infection. It was a yeast infection. It was a yeast infection. So if your pussy is smelling gnarly, like you can really, 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 really smell it, like over your clothes, over your, underwear and stuff like that, even after you shower, definitely go to the doctor and try to see if you have a urinary tract infection, and they'll like give you a pill to get rid of it. But your vagina should have like a natural scent to it. And I feel like guys try to make us so insecure about it. They're like, oh, pussy smells like fish, blah, blah, blah. Have you smelled balls? Like, balls smell like socks, like dirty socks. Like, never feel insecure about your pussy smell, because I think if you really genuinely love pussy, like I genuinely love pussy, you just like the smell of it, bitch. Like, it just like has a good smell. And like, it's like the little like fuck boys that are like, they don't have any experience with women that are like, pussy smells like, fish, blah, 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 blah. Girl, I think pussy smells amazing. It looks amazing. It looks like a fucking flower. It's like a beautiful piece of art and a beautiful, don't feel fucking insecure about your pussy, because there's so many times where I felt insecure about it, and like, you buy the wipes and like stuff like that. But I mean, the wipes are nice, but always, I used to like fucking, what's the purple thing? I used to put that, like, really clean it. Like, but your vagina has a natural odor. It has a natural smell. It has, it's natural. It naturally cleans itself. You don't have to clean inside like that. Like, just, scrub it on the outside and make sure that the outside is nice and like groomed and stuff like that. But your vagina, it should just have like a natural smell. You shouldn't smell it over your underwear and your pants. Don't feel insecure about it, girl, because if you're insecure, like, we should really be making men feel insecure about their ball smell. if anything, because I've never, ever, ever gone down on a girl and thought, wow, this smells bad. But I have gone down on a guy and be like, wow, that smells bad. So, purr. Next up, someone said, what are some green flags in men? Okay, so I feel like for me, it changes every year. I feel like every time, you're like, oh, I like this. This is important to me, whatever. I feel like my green flags are, takes care of himself. I don't want to be someone's mother. Okay. That's my main thing. I don't want to be anybody's mother. I don't want to baby anybody. Take care of your fucking self. Like, I'm not making you your own, fucking doctor's appointment, dentist appointment. You have to make that yourself. So take care of yourself. Well groomed. I feel like when you're well groomed, you take care of yourself. Has a nice stable job. I think and another thing for me is being in a provider mindset. And what I mean by that is I've come across so many guys and they act so rich and they're flaunting their jewelry, they're flaunting their private jets, they're flaunting this, they're flaunting that. They'll send you videos of flaunting, the boat and whatever. And it's like, what is the point of that? That doesn't make me horny. That doesn't make me like you any less, because there's so many times where you meet rich guys and they're just not in a provider mindset and they don't want to give you money. And it's like, at that point, you might as well just date someone that has a regular job, makes a regular amount of money and is in a provider mindset and will provide for you. Because, oh my God, I know this one girl, my one friend, she was dating this millionaire. I want to say he's really rich. He would take private jets. He is just super rich. He has multiple businesses. And I was like, okay, girl, slay. Okay, he's rich. We love to see it. So for Christmas, she got him a Louis Vuitton bag. He got her nothing. For Valentine's Day, he took her to Starbucks and then spent the rest of the day with his boys. He didn't get her any gifts, didn't pay any of her bills, didn't do anything. And I'm almost at a point where I'm like, girl, it's at a point where it's like, you might as well date a regular guy with a provider mindset, because there are times where, even my boyfriend now, he makes a good amount of money. He doesn't, make as much money as, that millionaire that's taking private jets and whatever. I'm not talking about Sierra, by the way. I'm talking about someone else. So I know that you guys are going to say that, but he doesn't make as much. But he is in a provider mindset where he wants to take care of me and he wants to get me gifts and he wants to provide for me and he pays for every dinner and he pays for, me to, get Starbucks, or he pays me, to treat myself or whatever. And it's not a matter of how rich the man is. It's whether the man is in a provider mindset, because, it's always it's almost kind of gross. It's almost flaunting your money on social media and flaunting your money to girls, but then not even spending the money or giving the money. It's almost like, I saw Wizard Liz say this. She was like, it's almost like someone eating food in front of people who can't afford food. It's that's kind of gross and disgusting. It's share with other people. If you're gonna flaunt it, at least share it with the people around you, or share it with the women that you want to surround yourself with, or be in a provider mindset. It's not a gold digger thing. I think it's mostly just not being so flashy and not being so gross about your money. I don't know. To me, that's an ick. It's kind of an ick when a guy is always, flaunting their money and flashing their money and, being like, look at me, I'm so rich. And look at me, I could get all of these girls on my yacht and whatever. But it's you don't provide for anyone. And it doesn't you don't share your money with anyone. You're kind of selfish and you have these girls on your boat, but you expect something in return. It's nothing is ever nothing is ever like genuine with these people. It's always like some sort of exchange where it's like, you know, you can be on my boat, but hey, I'm gonna like be really creepy and like hit on you and try to have sex with you the whole time. It's like, that's the kind of vibe that I get from these guys. It's like they're so icky, and it's like the biggest ick when they're just so flashy with their money and don't they don't do anything about it, basically. They want to flash their money to all these girls and then not give the girls any of their money. It's like, I don't know. Maybe this comes off a little bit like a gold digger kind of mindset, but like, I just don't see it as a gold digger kind of mindset, because you won't find yourself happy with the rich guy that doesn't have a provider mindset and, you know, doesn't get you anything. He loves to flaunt his private jets. He loves to flaunt to everyone else. He loves to jerk off with his little guys to like, you know, oh my God, look at my nice car. Look at this, look at this, look at this. But is stingy with his woman. That is just the worst type of man. He will cheat on you. He is insecure. He only finds value in himself through his money. He only finds value in himself through surrounding himself with like hot women, through you know, proving that he can pay for things, proving that he can get a private jet. He always posts it on a story. Don't worry, you guys. That is just like the worst type of man, and he will cheat on you 100%, 100%, because that's the only way that he can find his value is through women, through money, through expensive things, through this, through that. I think that's why I find it so icky, because they are just the most insecure skid marks of a human. They're the worst types of people in the entire world. And it could just really never be me. I feel like once I started making money, it's like, not that I'm like in a provider mindset, but it's like when you start making money, all that I want to do is like help out my family. And all that I want to do is, you know, help out my friends and like, you know, take my friends on nice trips and like, you know, buy my friends nice gifts. And like, you know, it's like, you have to be a crazy type of person to make a good amount of money and only spend it on yourself. I don't know. That's just the way that I see it. Even like donating to charity, like people don't like donating to charity actually makes your taxes lower. Like it actually like it's like a tax break. Like it's like so many people that they just like are so greedy and they're so shallow and so, you know, insecure. These types of men, I've seen it so many times. They will cheat on you and they'll say, oh, I've changed. They will never change because they need to fix themselves first and they need to not be so fucking insecure first. It's always the provider men that they want to see their women flourish. They want to see their women grow. They want to see their women, you know, look gorgeous and beautiful with her nails done, her hair done. They want to see their woman in a nice, beautiful dress. They want to see their woman thrive because they know that having a gorgeous woman with, you know, that presents herself really nice, that is happy, that is the biggest sign of success. And I think the biggest flex, honestly. So yeah, green flexing, guys, I think it's just having a provider mindset, really wanting to take care of your woman, not being insecure, because it really is the secure men that are in the provider mindset that want to have a nice woman, that want to, you know, they don't get their value and their worth from hooking up with random girls and hot girls. They don't get their worth from like flashing off shit. They get their worth off of working hard, by taking care of their family, by taking care of their woman, by taking care, by being a provider, by, you know, being a nice human, by tipping people, by tipping the waiters, by being, you know, a nice person. That's, to me, is a green flag. Okay, next. Next up, someone said, how do you keep your relationship as healthy as possible? I think the thing that I am so grateful for with my boyfriend is we're really good at communicating. And I'm really not scared to bring anything up. Like, you know, if anything were to happen, he's the first person that I want to tell. You know, if I know that he's not going to judge me and he's not going to, you know, explode or not going to like be super angry if something were to happen. He's very understanding, and we both, you know, are really good at communicating. And I think it's vice versa. Like, he knows that if anything were to happen, he can always come to me and he can always tell me. And if anything were to happen to me, I can always go to him and I can always tell him. And I think that's just like the best part of a relationship, is just being communicative and being able to tell your partner anything. And it could be your needs, it can be, you know, what you're going through. It could be really anything. And I think also having those tough conversations of like, you know, your childhood and like your parents and like, you know, why certain things trigger you, because, you know, when you were younger, this would happen. And when they do that, it triggers you. I think having those deep conversations really helps strengthen our relationship. And, you know, it's actually really fun. I love going out on dates. We see each other so much. So sometimes, you know, you run out of things to talk about. So I'll go on Google and I'll search up like couples questions or questions for couples. And they're so good and juicy. I love, you know, there's questions where like I wouldn't think of asking. So that's always fun. And you could like talk about your childhood and your parents. You could talk about your friends, your, you know, growing up, and like your favorite, you know, Disney character, your favorite, you know, what you want us to be when you grow up, like things like that. I think just makes your relationship so much stronger. But I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. I know it was kind of a deep one, and I don't even know if I'm gonna put this up. It's a little scary for me to put things up like this. I think it's scary for anyone to put stuff up, like, you know, it's your childhood and like growing up and, you know, all these things. But, you know, if it helps one person, I think that's all that matters for me. But I love you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you're on YouTube, make sure to give it a like and comment down below any of your thoughts, whatever you guys think. If you're listening on Apple Music or Spotify, make sure to give it 5 stars. It helps me a lot. And yeah, I love you guys. I hope you have a good Wednesday. I'm always here if you need to talk. Every Wednesday on my Girl Talk podcast, and every Monday and Friday on my YouTube channel. But yeah, I love you guys. Or my vlog channel. I love you guys. I'm always here, same place, same time. Love you guys. Bye.
Did you like that episode? I really hope that you did. If you haven't already, then make sure to watch last week's episode or the week after. Just click on the links, whatever it is. And I hope that you guys enjoyed. Also, be sure to subscribe because it helps me a lot. But I love you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.
Feel it rush, sipping on Hawaiian punch. Squeeze the sides, feel it rush, sipping on Hawaiian punch. Know you like all this gush? Oh no, you can't get enough. Sipping on Hawaiian.